world were to be fair, I'll be Jeff Bezos by now.
Okay. You're a lady.
The money.
It's fine. Fine. I know where the watching joint is. So
yeah.
I'm gonna go there and demand for mine. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still the same.
I know, right?
It's still the same yeah. I'm going to demand for mine. Anyway, now we've got a few things to talk about this morning, and I'm sure that if you tune into Newsflash, you may have heard about the CJ and the issues that are surrounding her removal. I mean, it's been back and forth for a couple of weeks now, and we've gotten to a point where she's been suspended, and the suspension is to allow investigations and the Council of State to do their job. There's a committee that has been put in place, and the NPP is not excited about it. But this is constitutional, and so there's little that anyone can do about it.
That's the thing about constitution. When it comes to constitution, the unfortunate thing is that
you can't do
anything about it. Until maybe somebody will say, "I'm going to the Supreme Court for interpretation." Let's see what Article 1466 says.
Okay, so I'd want us to get it on the so that we have a good explanation of it. So Article 146 is on removal of justices of superior courts and chairmen of regional tribunals. Now, Article 1461 says a justice of the superior court or a chairman of the regional tribunal shall not be removed from office except for stated misbehavior or incompetence on the grounds of inability to perform functions of his office arising from infirmity of body or mind. So Article 1461 gives us the main premise on which a justice of the Superior Court of Ghana or a chairman of a regional tribunal can be removed. Now, one of the key things we need to note here is that they have given different grounds on which this can be done. Now, one of them is infirmity or, the unavailability of a sound mind to deliver on their constitutionally mandated, function. So that one is on the side. Now, there's the element of misbehavior, stated misbehavior, and or incompetence, okay? So we have been told in the background, so let's give a bit of a background to this. Now, the background to this is that there were 3 anonymous petitions that were sent to the president to remove, suggesting to the president to remove the Chief Justice from office. And so, because we are very aware of her health status, because she's going about her daily work, we've taken out the element of, infirmity or the unavailability of sound mind. So it has to balance between stated misbehavior or incompetence. And of course, you need to go through certain processes to establish misbehavior and establish incompetence. Of course, there are rules guarding conduct, daily conduct of persons who have risen to become justices of the superior courts of this country. And then away from that as well, there are rules guarding the way one should conduct themselves when they are within that office. So the big question we have to ask ourselves is, what are the elements of this, particular, petition that was put across to the president? I will not boast of having the full details of this petition that was sent to the president. However, it's been acted on. We all do remember that she was given an ultimatum within which to respond to this. The response came, and based on this response, a committee has been put in place to go further into this and probe and ask all the possible questions. I'm sure that she will be invited to attend upon the committee. In the meantime, a suspension has been handed by the president, and this is also something that is provided for within the Constitution. Now, the key element here as well that we need to note is that there is an element of discretion by the president. So this action taken by the president, John Dramani Mahama, is one that is discretionary, okay, in suspending the Chief Justice while this committee does its work. In a few moments, I'm sure we can pull off the images of, or the details of the members of this committee, so that we can have more, you know, on them. But yeah.
In the communique yesterday, they stated Article 1466, and it says, where the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice, the President shall, acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed by chairman by the President, and 3 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers. And so that is what he used to form the committee.
Article 1465 says the committee appointed under Clause 4 of this article shall investigate the complaint and shall make recommendations to the Chief Justice, who shall forward them to the President. Now, 6 says, where the petition for the removal of the Chief Justice where the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice, and 6 becomes very, very instructive. Where the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice, the President shall, acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chair by the President, and 3 persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers. So in a bit, we will be seeing the names of these persons who have been appointed. It's been all over. We've published this, but for the purposes of this conversation, it's important to bring these persons in. So in terms of fulfilling Article 1466 of the Constitution, the President has done exactly that. Now, and then after that, it says the committee appointed under Article 6 shall inquire into the petition recommended by the President where the Chief Justice ought to be removed from office. Now, 8 says that all proceedings under this article shall be held in camera, and the Justice or Chairman against who this petition is made is entitled to be heard in defense by himself or by a lawyer or expert of his choice. Okay. Great. So 9 talks about how the President shall act in each case with the recommendations of the committee. You know, okay. So 8 also states something very important, that this should be held in camera. Okay. So it should just tell us that whatever is speculated in the media regarding what goes on in the proceedings has to be taken with a pinch of salt, because the Constitution has stated clearly the mode within which this hearing has to be held. And of course, the framers of the Constitution thought it wise that a position as sensitive as that of the Chief Justice should have, you know, a certain myth around it. And even when there is trouble, you know, that we should know how to go about it. Very careful. Okay? Because when you look at the structure of state, this person, which is the Chief Justice of our Republic, is among the first 4 most powerful people in this country. And so handling issues around them should be done with a certain level of tact.
She can easily assume the office of the President in cases of absence of certain people before her time. So, yeah, I mean...
Now, 11, Article 11 also says something very interesting here. It says that the President may, at any time, revoke a suspension under this article. This means that later today, based on the President's discretion, okay, and based on, and it says that at any time, so it could be that in the next 2 hours, the President can send a communique and announce that he has revoked the suspension.
Well, so constitutionally, that is correct. Now, in terms of politics, like we've seen right now, and I'm bringing this conversation in so that the viewers do not understand it from only the constitutional point of view.
Very well.
Because we should not kid ourselves.
Very well.
The NDC and the members of the NDC actually have made it clear that the Chief Justice should not be in that position.
Okay.
And let's not even.
All right.
Now, now the NPP is not happy about that because they believe that it is very catastrophic in terms of where we are headed as a democratic, you know, country. you cannot also rule the fact that there's been a precedent that has been set. And so, yes, the Constitution will speak about all the things that we are talking about here, but the revoking of the suspension and where the NDC stands, I don't think it's.
You don't think it's going to happen?
Okay.
I want us to vary it so that viewers understand. Well, it's that conversation.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, KMJ. We all do realize that we are in a very political environment. And so when you're talking issues of law is law, and politics is politics. However, there is a very high probability that in the discharge of adherence to the law and upholding justice, we can end up mixing the two for convenience.
No doubt.
We are not by any way suggesting that that is what has happened in this particular instance. Now, in the past few weeks, we've had the former Attorney General, the Honorable Godfred Yeboah-Dame, speak to this matter and make some allegations, talk about the points where they have discomfort and where they are not happy. For instance, the Chief Justice, one of the complaints that was laid was that these 3 documents that were sent, or the documents, of these petitions were not initially made available to the Chief Justice, which procedurally they find very wrong, because if an allegation has been made against anyone, it is important that
that I can respond based on what I've said.
Very well, very well. So one of the things that was said was that it was, it was not right that these documents were not made available. And the
minority have strongly also
very well. Now,
disagreed with that.
The difficulty the public may have in understanding this matter is that, first of all, we do not have the benefit of the details of this one. I will not boast of having this because of matters of other interest and all of that. But one of the things, for instance, that has been mentioned is that by the package or by the remuneration package that the Chief Justice enjoys by virtue of being in that office, whenever there is travel, the government takes care of her and one more person who is attached to her office as an assistant or security or one.
A bodyguard,
Now, it is been stated and it's been alleged that in one instance when she traveled, and once again, I use these words very, very carefully, it's been alleged that one extra person, which was supposed to be her spouse, was benefited from that trip, and these were taken care of by the office.
Yeah, we understand it was the husband and the daughter.
Very well. So once again, we're saying it is alleged. Once again, we have to be very, very specific with these matters. Let us wait for what the committee will establish when it comes to that particular element, if it is in the petition and which of the petitions has that. And all the other allegations that have been made against her, the kinds of responses she has given in accordance with the law and what the law permits regarding the conduct and the everyday movement within her office. Once the committee's work is done, I believe that it will be important to, then we can move the conversation to a certain level. The other thing I'd want to say is that, around this time, there will be a lot of speculation. The public will be asking all sorts of questions. And unfortunately for the public, because many do not understand the ins and outs of this office and all the constitutional elements, the requirements of law and all of that, people will tend to, based on speculation and based on mere hearsay, pursue certain lines and go along certain choruses, which may be great misinformation to the public. So when a matter like this happens, the disadvantage that the general public suffers is that because of the lack of understanding of the issues at hand, people tend to just fly around all sorts of, because at the end of the day, you just want to ask yourself a question. KMJ, if you were a lawyer, decided to go and serve on the bench, got the experience, and wrote all of the articles and, managed to rise to become Chief Justice of this country, and you found yourself in this particular, scenario or this particular case, how would you want to be treated in accordance with our Constitution as a citizen of this country? You see, all of these will come to play. Let's look at both sides of the coin. You understand me? So there is a very high probability that people will be, asking questions. The other thing,
I think that
the other thing as well is the optics. There are those who have spoken about the optics that, irrespective of whether there is a case or not, what the people see is that Chief Justice has been suspended, and eventually, if it is the case that there is a strong case that has been made and she's not able to defend herself well and she's removed, then it sends a certain signal to the people or the general public that we could be having a situation where on the ends of politics, we could be changing a Chief Justice every political term or whenever a new political party assumes government. And this will be because, obviously, in political terms, you'd want to see someone that you identify with and who probably identifies with your political ideology occupy that high office. Of course, in terms of looking purely at the law, it's a completely different conversation. There are requirements for serving at the bench. There are requirements of being appointed to the Supreme Court. There are requirements as well regarding how one should conduct themselves generally. And there are general requirements of how one should dispense and conduct their work as well. And so that one is there, it's fixed. And so we can decide to talk full law, but we could also decide to look at the other social element and the other political element. But these are, to wrap this up, I believe that these are very interesting times in our politics. These are very interesting times in our legal system, and these will be very, very big tests of the law. Like I said, if one of the two happens, if either of the two happens, it will still be a very important chapter in our history as a nation, so that this becomes precedence, it becomes a point of reference for future. We live in a common law jurisdiction, and all of these decisions become key, especially for those who want to enter the field and those who want to practice. This will become very, very good information. So let's see how things go. Let's follow, let's have bated breath. Let's look to see what exactly the committee that has been appointed will come out with, and eventually, obviously, what the president will decide based on the findings of the committee.
All right.
For me, I still think that we'll just leave it on the doors of politicians. The reason why we're where we are right now, and if it happens again, it's still the same politicians living their journey, and so we'll leave it at that. But the coming weeks and days will be very interesting, and I'm sure a lot of people are waiting for that announcement of a substantive Chief Justice. Anyway, let's move on. There's another legal matter, maybe this one in the entertainment space, we want to look at it. Bimbo is actually very, very, very angry at the way Ghanaians, for example, people who movie lovers are abusing. I like that you use the word abusing. Abusing the way they deal with their content and their production that they put out there. But let's take a listen to what she has to say in this video, and then we'll come back.
First of all, I'd like to say a very big thank you for all the love and support that you have shown me in respect of the PR for Broken Hallelujah. But I wanted to let something known. It's been eating me. It's been eating deep inside of me. And I just wanted to let it know. Broken Hallelujah is coming, right? But I thought we were past the days of piracy. And this video is actually to send a sound warning. It's not a threat, but at the same time, it's a very sound warning. And I'm going to do a breakdown for you guys. This video might be long, but please listen. You know those people that take your thumbnail and your title and pretend like it's the same film for clickbait? Please, I'm begging you now. Let's all remember that we used an email address to open a YouTube channel. You can be traced, you can be tracked, you can be found. You guys, I don't have a problem. See, it's already bad enough that they're using my face for films that I'm not in. No problem. But when I call a photographer, they take pictures of me. I pay them. They send me back the pictures. I pay somebody to do a poster. They send it back to me. I go through all that process. That picture, that poster is my intellectual property. It belongs to me. I didn't give you permission to use it. My title has been copyrighted. I didn't give you permission to use it. It's a different thing if, okay, like a movie, Homecoming, and then The Homecoming. That one is fine. But when you use my actual title and my thumbnail, then we have a problem. Then you now proceed to be evil and upload my film on your channel without my consent. I spent millions of naira making this movie. You know what it means to cast top actors? They charge me, and I gladly pay because they bring their A game. Then I'll now do all of that day and night. Sometimes you don't sleep. Crew members will suffer. They won't go home. We just walk round the clock. Then you will now sit down at the comfort of your home and lift my film and put on your channel. That TV station in Ghana, I'm talking to you. Don't put my movie up. I didn't give you permission to. I don't even want, before I was even like, well, let's talk to me. Let's discuss on how we can both share. But I don't want your money. Don't put my movie up. All the TV stations in Ghana that put my movie, I didn't give you permission to don't put my movie up. Ayodeji Films.
That's Nigerian actress and producer Bimbo speaking on the issue of copyrights and what some movie, that she's put out have been used on televisions here in Ghana without her permission. And, this is not the first time we're having this conversation. I think it's something that has been around for a long time. We have, seen producers go very angry about the way television stations are using their works without getting in touch with them or paying what they're supposed to pay them and all of that. And for me, when I saw this on social media, a lot of people were very excited about the call out. Some people felt like, it's about time. They took some of these, television stations on and all of that. But to what extent? Are we going to see another rant? And, it ends up where it's supposed to end. That I'm sure many Nigerians would have loved to come out the way she has come out. And I mean, producers of movies would have loved to come out the way she has done, because we've seen a lot of movies that are made in Nigeria, being shown on television stations here without permission from the owners of these productions. I don't know about what happened in Nigeria in terms of Ghanaian movies out there, which I would very mainly disagree if this is the same situation over there. I watch a lot of Nigerian television stations, and I don't see Nigerians showing Ghanaian movies as much as we do over here. But that's what it is. You think it was a good call?
Definitely it was. We should understand that we're living in a heavily regulated environment. I've seen something similar in the past. In fact, when I was told about this story yesterday by a friend, I thought it was the old one, because one other Nigerian actress gave a strong warning, to someone here or an outfit here that were using their content. Then this goes back to the question about regulation and participation in various sectors and industries and understanding what we're all doing there. If you decide to set up a radio station, for instance, you should be abreast of the requirements for setting up a radio station. And you should have the needed documentation, you should have the needed, you should be set up in such a way administratively that you can meet all of the requirements, for setting up a radio station. In the same way, if you're setting up a television station, there are requirements. The National Communications Authority comes in, gives you a kind of license. It could be terrestrial, it could be other than that. And all of these just go to work within a certain framework so that once your outfit comes out, you know that it is of a certain description, it has a certain bandwidth, it serves a certain jurisdiction or a certain zone, and you have a certain genre as well. All of these are within these requirements. Now, the key thing here is that we should also understand that we are in a heavily regulated environment when it comes to the use of content. I remember that many years ago when we set up this institution, which was then known as Multi-TV, we had free-to-air television, we had satellite television, which just needed you to buy a box, and the rest you just enjoy the content free, okay? As time went on, we cut down on the number of platforms that we had, and then decided to focus on, what is now Joy News, the Learning Channel, and then Joy Prime, okay? Now, within the content provision mix is a lot of regulation as well, so that if you are putting content on your network, there has to be a certain agreement. It is standard practice. There has to be a certain agreement.
And it doesn't matter the jurisdiction, it doesn't matter where you are.
Exactly. Now,
there's a standard that it has to be.
Now, and then the other thing you should understand is that if you put yourself in the shoes, and I always like to look at fairness and putting things on a balanced scale, that you are a content producer. I have the platform. I need content on my channel. So if I am not producing the content for my channel, then I have to go out there to look for those who are making producing the content to put on my platform. But before that happens, there has to be an agreement. There has to be an agreement where there is adequate compensation for the content I'm putting on my network, the time block I'm putting it there on, the time duration, and all of these will come into the agreement. Once there is no agreement and you are not in the know, or you are in oblivion regarding the use of your content by another party that is not you, then it becomes a very big problem. And that is where she's coming from. Now, in the evolution of social media and all of the doings, we do realize that people use all sorts of strategies to draw numbers. And one of them are clickbaits, which what she's spoken about. So the clickbait strategy is different ways. I mean, somebody can come and announce the death of an individual. Some can give you an image. They say, oh, KMJ has landed a big opportunity with CNN. And then you click on it, and you realize it takes you to another site or something else. All of these are illegal methods of getting people to, and at the end of the day, what it does create is a lot of sensationalism and deceit.
And unfortunately, it's become a norm now. I mean,
very well. So there's and away from the sensationalism, there's a lot of deceit as well. Yeah. There's a very big element of deceit. You understand me? So you're watching her, you think, oh, I have a movie that's featuring her. Okay, this movie I've been looking for. You go and click on it, and it takes you to another movie. Yeah. It's happening on YouTube as well. Now, what it becomes the worry for me is that some of the media outfits in this country have just decided that they're going to go the back route, which is sit back, put up some standard equipment, make sure they are on air, and look for ways of getting content in. And you know, what they may not know, if they do not know, is that if content owners start taking legal action against them, it will cost them their respective, it could go to the extent of costing them their respective licenses. Because at the end of the day, if a suit is filed against this particular media house or whichever outfit it is, and you have maybe a setup, you have a television station or something like that, or you have a YouTube channel which probably is doing well, whatever compensation you may be ordered by the court to give her could cost you the whole setup. I know that it costs money. I mean, it's not easy. Content production is not an easy job, and we have our own story here. I know that sometimes our viewers will say, oh, you guys, we want 2025 movies, we want 2024 movies and all of that. But it's not that simple.
It's expensive.
It is a very big commercial engagement.
When you're not getting the revenue back when you want.
Exactly.
It's a very is a problem. And all.
Yeah, it's a very big commercial engagement. And so because of that, if you don't have the muscle to support that and be consistent with it, then you're in a lot of trouble. I know of a TV station in Ghana which started its operations and decided to go on the streets and buy those pirated movies. This was about, over a decade ago. They were buying pirated movies, and I think that the owners just had made up their minds that they were going to do that, and they were ready for any legal battle that anybody or any court case that came up, from any of the content owners. Well, it is wrong, but it got them some very good numbers. Exactly. But the question is, why would you go that route, get the numbers, and then get yourself into trouble such that it disrupts your operations? You understand me? So we need to understand that content, and you see, the other thing is that we may be looking at one side of it, which is the consumption element, but let's also look at the production element, because everybody must be protected. What the consumer is looking for is that when they switch on their channels, or whenever they pay via a code and they enter a certain domain, they should be able to consume a certain content, consume a certain movie, consume a show, a live show or something, okay? Moving away from that, if you are on the end of production, yours is, you've broken your back, and just like she said, you're breaking your back, you're bringing the best possible talent together, the most attractive talents together. You have a very big storyline, which is very engaging, very exciting. You're putting it out there. And at the end of the day, you must get good reward
for that,
and decent reward for your hard work. And sometimes we put, we see the movie. You can watch a movie within 1 hour, 30 minutes. You can watch a movie within 2 hours. But the kind of work that goes in is crazy. I mean, you've worked in that industry before, so you have an idea, how some of these things work. I've worked in that industry as well.
She was mentioning names of people that she has to pay from production, point of view. Camera people, sound people.
It's true.
Even when you're done, post-production, what you have to do to ensure that the movie even get the attention.
It's true.
And all that, And this is something that you can't take it away from any producer. And so if they go through all this and then eventually they put it out there and someone else is just showing it for free,
So this should be a big call. I know that there will be some stubborn nuts who will still continue to do that. But at the end of the day, once you get these kinds of warnings and you don't do anything about them, then when the trouble comes, you face it on your own.
Anyway. All right, we have any other things to talk about before we
amazing moments this morning, and great time with the grandpapa. He's an amazing guy. A lot to learn from him. He's controlled a very big space and influenced a very big space in our music industry, style industry, and hospitality industry. And we have to give him his roses any day, any time. And I think we should have a more detailed conversation with him sometime soon. Away from that as well, have you seen this great man? This is the Agbubumefia of the Asogli State in the Volta region, former president of the National House of Chiefs, Togbi Apada the 14th. He's celebrating his birthday today. He's also the board chairman of Accra Hearts of Oak, Ghana's oldest existing football club. So Togbi Apada is a seasoned entrepreneur as well. One of his key areas in terms of endeavor are finance and energy. And he is a very big player when it comes to our independent power producers. So Togbi Apada, happy birthday to you. We salute you greatly, and we thank you for all the impact you're making in our society. Togbi Apada the 14th.
A very calm man. I've met him twice, all in the Volta region. One was an event, one was the Volta Fair. And he was not in his, the usual element that you see him. He was with just his people around him in his shorts and his, normal clothes. Just walking about, shaking hands with everybody. He's just an affable man. And I think that we pray for him. And may God bless his reign as well. He's a very, very nice person. And we wish him well.
Yeah, I remember. Today? Yeah, I remember his words when he was special guest at the National Education Forum, which was hosted at the Volta Serene Hotel, and he made some very instructive comments about the kinds of children we're producing from our educational institution who should be problem solvers and not people who are just coming to read theory and come into the system. Great man indeed. There's no doubt about that.
Awesome. All right, that's all time will permit this morning here on Prime Morning. We're back again, same team, same platform. And of course, a big thank you to the production team as always, and to you for always tuning in and spending some quality time with us here on the show. We'll see you you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Until then, please take care of yourself. Do good to communicate and take care of yourselves and each other. We love you. We're back tomorrow at 6.